Hello, 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 and welcome back to Leveraging Your Reality, where mindset meets movement. I am Siobhan Terrell Camper, your partner in growth as you become a healthier you, a healthier parent, a healthier spouse, and healthier leader. Today, I want to hit on a topic that's real. It's hitting so many of my clients when it comes to mass layoffs. They're happening everywhere, and it is so easy to navigate a change like this with a negative mindset. They did it to me. Look at the president, look at the government, look at the company. And we could get into a place of blaming and complaining. And yes, all of these factors may have a component in what's happening in society today. But when it boils down in blaming them, change does not happen for you. The only thing that will happen is you will get further and further away from who you are and who you want to be and getting stuck in complaining. So today I want to talk a bit about navigating layoffs with a growth mindset. And when you get laid off, I've been let go from jobs more than once, and when you get let go, it sucks. There is nothing anybody can say to make it feel better. And in those moments, you need time to grieve. Like, you are literally going to go through a grieving process of sadness, of anger, of frustration. And at the same time, you also have to go, like, you also have an opportunity to go through a growth process. Because one thing that happens when you get laid off is like things slow down. The other part we don't talk about is there are those moments where we complain about work taking up all our time. I don't have time to do anything else. But when we get the time to do these things, whether it's intentional or unintentional, a lot of times we don't do the things that need to be done to help us grow. So instead of going on the blame train, look at, okay, how can I be part of securing my future? Because a reality is too that the security that once existed in jobs, it doesn't exist anymore. And we have to look at, how do I build financial security if the job isn't the center of providing my security? If the job isn't the center anymore, then what fills that center? I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be you. So first, let's just start with the emotional side and the weight of a job loss. For many people, a job loss comes with the loss of the income, and the loss of the income can quickly mean, like, how are bills going to get paid? Because especially in the United States, like, most people don't have access to even $1,000. So that means a household is almost instantly in crisis. If they're not going to be in crisis within the first month, within the first 6 months, they will most likely be in crisis. So navigating the emotional side of it is just get it started with, like, getting yourself supported. That's a big piece of it. Like, letting other people support you, and support can come in different ways. It could be just having somebody that you could just vent to. That's a start. A person to vent to. You don't need 10 people to vent to. Just at least having 1 to 2 people where you could kind of just let off the weight and be truthful about it. I think another piece too of navigating emotions. I mean, if people have faith, I believe in God, and checking in, like, all right, God, like, this is where you have me. So leaning into your faith over the fear. Because if you let fear override you, it takes over your decision making process. Sometimes we need to move by faith. A lot of times we need to move more by faith versus by fear. Another piece too of handling the emotional weight is taking care of yourself. Whether that's going to mean working out, like exerting that extra energy that's naturally going to build up as you worry and go through those fearful moments. So whether you're working out or going for walks, like, have your body moving so that it gets a chance to go beyond just sitting and thinking. Another thing that commonly happens too is so many of us, our job titles are it's really tied up in our identity, and we don't always know who we are beyond the job title. And if you don't know who you are beyond your job title, and that job title disappears, it feels like a sense of loss of self. We spend so much time at work, so much time working, and when you feel like you've lost the thing that you talk about with everybody, then it's like, oh, what do I talk about? And it's really easy to begin to isolate yourself. So that piece of facing you is going to be big. Like, you knowing who you are outside of your titles and the accolades and all that stuff is so important. Like, who are you as an individual? What fuels you? What brings you energy? I have many clients that are in this situation, and one of the biggest mistakes people make is they go from working a full-time job to full-time applying to jobs, and they're in this mindset of it's a numbers game and I just have to keep applying. If it was a numbers game, many people would already have jobs, because you have people that have applied to hundreds of jobs and they still don't have a job. It's not just a numbers game. I don't believe that at all. I think a big part of it is quality over quantity. And you don't need to spend your entire day applying to jobs. Like, it's not healthy. And probably 50+% of the jobs that you're applying to are low quality jobs. So I really recommend in these situations for people to write your ideal job description. Like, what do you want to be up to in this phase of your career? Get that ideal job description written up. And once you have it written up, take the components of that job description and put it in an Excel sheet. And it's like, this is 100% of all the factors that I want inside of an ideal job. Then every time you go to apply to a job, run it through this test. And when you run it through the test, you're seeing, okay, out of 100, there are 100 points available. Where does this job I'm about to apply to fall on? And if it falls into, you decide on your percentage. For me, I'm like, I don't want to do anything that falls 75 or below. So if it falls 75% or below your ideal, don't even waste your time applying to it, because you don't want that job. And it doesn't make sense to go after things that are not really in alignment with what you're going towards, because you're going to go through the interview and be like, oh, I don't know, I can't tell. You end up in a job that you don't like, a lot of times taking a pay cut, and you're back on a job search again. So just streamline. Hey, I'm going to apply to X amount of jobs per day. I personally recommend people applying somewhere in between 3 to 10 jobs a day. And once you apply to your somewhere in between 3 and 10, stop for the day. That is not an 8-hour job right there. That should take you less than 4 hours to apply for 3 to 10 jobs. And then do things for your family, do things for you, for your household. Like, spend time getting other things in order. Because if you work 8 hours a day applying to jobs, one, you're burnt out for your family when they come home. And then by the time you do go get a job, you haven't taken care of yourself and you need a vacation. You start in that job stale with the leftover stuff from the last job. But that's like a 3 to 5 a day. Like that's more than enough. And then another part of it is like getting out there and meeting people, networking, talking to people face to face, having meetings with people, informational interviews, because one of the things that we really have to begin to do is move past depending on a 9 to 5 job for all of our income. You could be using the other part of this time to think of ways to diversify your income. And how do I get income coming in other ways? It is going to be so important. The workforce is changing, and we already know stay at a job for 30 years is gone, right? But I believe now we're moving into the age of contract, like skill-based hiring. And I believe it's going to be more contract-based than it is full-time based, because there is this reality of employers are not loyal and employees are not loyal. Since there is no loyalty the structure will have to change. Otherwise, it continues to crumble. And I believe that this contracting approach is going to be one of the major ways in which it's changing. I mean, in my industry, coaching alone, that's what's happening. They're hiring more contract coaches than they are hiring full-time employee coaches. And then using that other time, like however long it lasts, it's taking people anywhere from 3 months to over a year to get a job. So within that same time, if you find another way to generate income, that's amazing. And I know it may not replace all your income right away, but hey, if you figure out how to generate $500 a month, $1,000 a month, those are bills that are being covered. One less thing to worry about. There was a time where they would call it a side hustle and side hustles were optional. We are getting into a place where multiple streams of income is becoming the norm. And when you're in a layoff, it is a really great opportunity to start diversifying how you earn income and getting creative with your approaches. So that's something I definitely recommend. Spend a piece of your work day applying to jobs, no more than 4 hours. Spend another piece of your work day, an hour or so, making connections with people. Spend another 2-ish hours working to build towards another income stream. And the best way to build is when you don't have money, because you get real creative and figuring out how to do things. David John has this book. He wrote it up several years ago, The Power of Broke. It's an interesting book because when you are broke, you get really creative, and it's an interesting place to build a business from. Like when it comes to my business, I didn't have a lot of money to put towards it, and I built it nice and broke, and it moved. It's still, I mean, I had to move differently. I had to get creative, but it still had time to blossom. And it's another piece too. Like whenever you're building up these other income streams, we have to give them time to evolve. Like you like being willing to invest 5+ years into whatever it is. If you don't see yourself going at that for 5 years, don't even start it. Find the thing that you're at least willing to put 5 years into, day in and day out. All right. Another piece too is just how you're looking at it. When we get let go, it's so easy to see it as a rejection. They didn't want me. What did I do? When it comes to mass layoffs, it's not personal. They're looking at some numbers and they're moving things around. They don't know the people that they're moving around oftentimes, and decisions are made in that way. You didn't do anything per se to get let go in this round. You were just one of the ones that was selected. So see the rejection as a redirection. It wasn't meant for you to be there any longer. If it was meant for you to be there, you would be there. But it's not. It's meant for something else. And part of your job is to figure out, where am I being redirected to, and get on that path. To keeping your confidence in check. Like you don't have to go at these types of things alone. There are so many people out of a job right now, and link up with them. Like build a whole accountability group based off of, hey, we're all in here looking for a job. Let's encourage each other. Let's keep each other positive. I know for me, I suggest working with a coach, not just because I'm a coach. It literally changed my life in so many ways. So I also recommend too working with a coach. Like you work with me and you're unemployed, I get 50% off of my traditional rate, because I want to be able to support you as you go through whatever it is that this transition that you're going through. These are some tips on how to structure your day. Biggest mistake people make is spending all their time applying to jobs. That's not the only way to make money. And in the future, traditional 9 to 5 will most likely not exist the way it's been existing. So you want to now begin to become resilient and really learning how to earn income in different ways. All right, you can feel free to hit me up. All of those who are unemployed, like most coaches offer free consultations. I have a free consultation. Like get on the calendar, set it up, be in a conversation. I remember years ago when I first started coaching, of course, I'm going to leave this person anonymous, but I was reaching out to people on LinkedIn, and I reached out to this woman and she was like, I can't afford you. I'm not even going to worry about doing a session with you. And I was like, no, like, what do you need help? How can I support you? What do you need help with? She was so resistant. And I was like, no, we're doing this. I'm going to support you. And she was like, can you help me with my interviewing? I think something's off with my interviewing. And I was like, cool, I'll help you with your interviewing. And we went through an interview. I have a specific way I teach people how to interview, but we went through an interview process, and she ended up getting a temp job. And then she hit me up a few months later, and she had another temp job. Then she got a full-time job. We fast forward, I think it's been about 8 or 9 years, because that was when I first started. And she is now at the VP level. And she says, to this day, I still use the same approach that we talked about. That was one session. One session made a difference on how she navigated the interview process. Here's the last tip that I'll leave you with. Something to note, that in a job interview in a job search process, if you are not getting callbacks, it's your resume. Your resume is not doing its job in some type of way. It's not speaking the language of the industry. It's not making it through. If you are getting job interviews and you're not getting job offers, it's your interviewing skills, and that needs to be updated. Once you get a interview, your resume has done its job. It's done. Now it's up to your interview skills. If your interview skills aren't landing you jobs, it's your interview skills that need sharpening. And knowing that difference of where do I need to adjust in my process is massive. You have people changing their resume because they're not making it through an interview process. No, honey, that's your interview skills. And interviewing is all about, I'm going to do a whole nother video on this to get into what interview is. I actually do that tomorrow. I'm going to talk about like how to navigate interviews from a different way. I'll show you how I work with my clients on navigating the interview process. And a lot of people think that it's about all the accolades, and it's not true. A lot of other people have those same accolades. I've been hired for jobs that I had like hardly any experience, and I got hired over the people that had all the experience. So if it wasn't just experience, a lot of people would be hired, but it's not that. Come back tomorrow and I'll tell you more about what the interview process is really about. All right. You all take care of yourself. Remember to subscribe, to like, share this message with people. You can also drop in the comments what you want to hear more about, what you want me to talk about specifically. All right. I'll see you all soon. Over and out.